I'm going to call the meeting to order, our Committee of Adjustments meeting, August the 10th, 2024. Please note that this meeting is being broadcast and recorded. Recordings will be made available on the town's YouTube channel. So I'm going to call the meeting to order, our Committee of Adjustments meeting, August the 10th. Anyone with cell phones or devices, please put them on mute. And I will introduce the folks that are here today. I will start with my planning. My planners, my senior planner. I'll introduce the folks that are here today. I will start with.
We have it fixed. Thank you. You can carry on, sir.
Okay, thank you. I will start with our senior planner, Maria Cosa Rossi. Our planner, Randy Burke. Chief Administrative Officer, Adam Sablonsky. Our planning technician, Mackenzie Baird. And I believe virtually, I can't see, but our committee, one of our committee members, Jennifer Turk. To my right, Councillor Mike Vasey. To my left, Deputy Mayor Nettie McEwen. And to her left, one of our committee members, Les Goldhawk. And myself, I am Bruce Moulton and I am the chair. We shall start with severance application. Oh, sorry. I ask all committee members if they have a declaration of pecuniary interest to please report them at that specific time. We'll adopt the committee minutes. So I have a motion here by Les Goldhawk, seconded by Nettie McEwen, that the minutes of regular Committee of Adjustments meeting held July the 9th, 2024 be approved and presented. All those in favor? I can't see Jennifer. That is carried. All right. I will start with severance application number B-1824. Take notice that an application has been made by Icabelli Construction, Nisbet as agent, with respect to the property known as Plan 25M-93 Lot 76, Town of Plympton-Wyoming, 3504 Paul Crescent. The applicant is requesting permission to sever approximately 30 square meters, 322.92 square feet, portion of the lot to be conveyed to an adjacent lot. The entire subject property is zoned residential -5, R5 in the town of Plympton-Wyoming, bylaw 97 of 2003. At this time, I will refer to our senior planner. I believe, Maria, this was your
yes.
application.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Planning staff recommend approval of the severance application, conditional on the following stipulations. Before we start with that, I just wanted to also take note that the actual severance that's being requested is for approximately 31.84 square meters. This is a correction from what was initially submitted in the application. There was no need to repost this notice because the notice was initially drafted as approximately 30 square meters. So the difference is very minor, doesn't require, because of the word approximate, doesn't require for it to be reposted for notification. So staff are recommending approval of this application based as long as the severed lands are deeded in the same name and interest as the lands to which they are being added, and that section 50 subsection 3 of the Planning Act applies to any future conveyances or transactions. This, if it's approved, will require a different type of stamp to be placed on the deed because we don't want a sliver of land to be the ability for it to stand on its own. So this is why this specific condition is placed here. All drainage acts assessment applicable to the lands be reapportioned between the retained lands and the severed lands. And then there's a little bit more to this condition, but that's the general gist of that. A certified lot grading plan for both retained and severed parcel, and the other standard conditions, which would be a copy of the final RD plan or survey, copy of the deed and survey to be submitted, additional severance fees as required by the town. And the conditions must be met and survey and deed be presented within 2 years from the date of the decision or the consent will lapse. In terms of the parcels, the way they currently stand, they comply with the municipality zoning. The use that is the designated use on the properties is for residential. It is in a low residential area. So it does comply, the way they currently stand, they do comply. With the severance, it is being requested because it actually has been purchased. The property was purchased, and when the foundation was laid, it wasn't laid in the correct location to allow the homeowner sufficient room in the interior side yard to drive its recreational vehicle to be able to store it in the rear yard. So currently the way the interior side yard setbacks are, everything about both the properties complies with the zoning, and with the severance, the compliance remains. It is just a bend. Initially, the applicants had proposed a strip, an equal width strip from the front to the back, which would have created an undersized vacant lot, in which case staff had a discussion for them to find another alternative because there wasn't really a need to create an undersized lot for this purpose. So what the applicant is proposing is the frontages will remain the same, but there will be a slight bend in the interior side yard to allow for that greater width for the homeowner to be able to drive their vehicle to the back to store. It is a bit of an unusual request because everything is in compliance to begin with, but staff felt that overall it wasn't going to change the use of either property, and it still allowed for the vacant lot to have a sufficient building envelope that would be in compliance with the zoning. So we felt that the request could be accommodated just to allow for an orderly storage of the recreational vehicle in the rear.
Thank you. Mr. Nesbitt, anything to add? Our planners report.
No, Mr. Chair, I won't add anything unless anybody has any questions. I'll be happy to answer.
That'll be coming for sure. Mackenzie, were there any correspondence at all referring to this application?
Through you, Chair, we received no correspondence on the application.
Okay, so I'll go to my committee. I see on now I can see you, Jennifer, online. I'll open the floor up to you for any questions.
I don't have any at this time, thank you.
Okay. Les.
I do have a question, and it's in regards to the lot that the property is coming from. You'd hate to see something come in for that lot to have a severance or a variance requesting the side yard setback to be reduced. Is there a way that we can make sure that that doesn't happen?
There is no planning mechanism that I'm aware of that would sufficiently address that concern. What the applicant's representative, and perhaps Mr. Nesbitt could respond to that, has indicated in conversations with staff is that what is being proposed in terms of a building on that property would not require a minor variance. And I understand that that's not a guarantee, but that has been what has been communicated to staff. Now, the difference is minimal. I believe at the most it would be the minimum interior side yard setback for the vacant parcel is 1.2 meters. So unless there's something else that perhaps Mr. Nesbitt can offer, I mean, currently the interior side yard setbacks for the current dwelling without severing and adding to this property is well beyond the 1.2. So that's something that we had initially discussed with the applicant, and he has communicated to staff that there would be no need for one, but perhaps we can turn that over to Mr. Nesbitt.
Thank you, Maria. If I can add some clarification. The current house that lies on the lot, foundation and the before altered lot lines. As Maria mentioned, the minimum lot side yard is 1.2 meters. The house that's on there now, before adjustment, was 2.14 meters on one side and 2.6 on the other.
That's not my question.
What I'm saying, that the house that's on there now had lots of side yard. I've also discussed with the owners, the developer's architect, and all of that developer's housing types will fit fine on the newly configured lot,
Needing a side yard.
needing a severance. Now, mind you, again, as Maria said, that's not a guarantee, but it will be up to, if it has to come from, if somebody does request a variance, it will become before your committee anyway, and you're more than welcome to turn it down if that's required.
Yeah.
At this time, there's no anticipation of a requirement for a minor variance.
Anything else, Les? Deputy Mayor McKee.
I don't have a question. I just have the house complied when it was built and then somebody bought it. Am I correct? Or did
The house was purchased as a pre-sale.
so the guy who built it, he knew what he was building then.
Yes.
So it could have been corrected before it ever started.
What happened is the original site plan was prepared and the house was rough staked, its original location. Then the requirement of a 3-meter side yard, or a request of a 3-meter side yard was made. But unfortunately, it didn't get through the process and the house was built in its original location. Because we certainly could have kicked it over one side and say we have 2 meters anyway. But through the process, the house did not get moved. It got built in its original location, not the newly requested location.
Okay, that's all I got.
Councillor Vaizey?
Just like I say, it's an odd one that like we were done like a bend in a,
Well, they like irregular lot lines.
Present.
I don't see any reason not. I would have put a straight line in if it were me, but it's just.
But like you said, undersized, am I correct?
Yes,
Make it undersized or just make it smaller?
it would have been undersized. It would not have complied. Originally, the application came to us as a severance and a minor variance to recognize, the minor variance would have been to recognize the undersized lot that it would have created. And so staff at that time felt that this was not a sufficient planning reason to make that request because everything was in compliance. So the compromise or sort of the better approach, they came back with an alternative that planning staff was satisfied could be accommodated from a planning perspective, and that was the bend that would allow for the, for the lot sizes to be in compliance with the zoning. Because there really was no the relief that was being requested just wasn't something that that was supportable, but through planning in terms of that it wasn't a hardship, or the relief that was being requested wasn't really a hardship per se. This is what planning was satisfied with in their second iteration.
They're just dealing with a nice planner. I hope they're dealing with a nice committee of adjustments.
Just as far as information, deviation of the new lot line is less than 1.5 degrees different from the original.
Can't really tell.
It won't be noticeable. It won't be,
All right, I have no questions. Sorry, go ahead, Les.
Just a quick one does that mean that like there'll be a new survey of that lot?
Yes,
as part of the reference plan is
it
required.
will be, it's condition number 4, a copy of the final RD planner surveys to be submitted to the town.
Okay, I'm gonna move forward. I had a motion by Natty McEwen, seconded by Mike Vasey, that the report by Maria Cosa Rossi dated August 28th, 2024 be received, and that consent application B-1824 requesting permission to sever an approximate 31.84 meters, 342.72 square feet portion of the lot to be conveyed to an adjacent lot be approved, subject to the following conditions. Severed lands are deeded in the same name and interest as the lands to which they will be added, and that section 53 of the Planning Act applies to any future conveyances or transactions. Number 2, all Drainage Act assessments applicable to the lands be reapportioned between the retained lands and the severed lands according to the agreement provided by the town and signed by the respective property owners of each of the retained lands, and that the severed lands, if the parties cannot mutually agree to the apportionment, or if the town does not approve, the town shall instruct an engineer in writing to apportion the assessment among the parts into which the land was divided, and the applicant shall pay the engineering fees for such apportionment. The fees will be paid prior to the stamping of the deeds. Number 3, a certified lot grading plan for both retained and severed parcels must be submitted and approved to the satisfaction of the town of Plympton-Wyoming. Number 4, a copy of the final RD plan or survey be submitted to the town of Plympton-Wyoming. Number 5, a copy of the deed and survey must be submitted to the Secretary Treasurer in a form suitable for registration. Number 6, additional severance fees as required by the town have been paid before the documents will be endorsed. Number 7, the conditions must be met and the survey and deed be presented within 2 years from the date of the decision, or the consent will lapse. I will call the question. All those in favor? Thank you very much. That motion is carried. Once again, there is a 20-day appeal period. So as you know, have conversations with McKinsey or planners, and but nothing can be done until after the 20-day appeal period.
Chair.
All right, we'll move on to our next application. Minor variance application number A2224. Take notice that an application is made by Felix Weber with respect to the property known as Concession 8W Part Lot 29, Town of Plympton, Wyoming, 5859 Fisher Line. The subject property is zoned Agriculture 1A1 with hazard H, significant natural area SNA, and wetland wet as per the Town of Plympton, Wyoming zoning bylaw. The following variances from zoning bylaw 97 of 2003 have been requested for a single detached dwelling. 1, a variance of approximately 30 meters, 98.43 feet to allow a maximum front yard setback of approximately 80 meters, 262.47 feet, notwithstanding the maximum front yard setback requirement of 50 meters, 164.04 feet, as outlined in Table A of the bylaw. I'll ask our planner, Randy Bork, give us her report.
Thank you, your chair. Yes, so this application, kind of for the same request on the property was made in August of 2023. At that time, the request was specific for a front yard setback of 103.45 specifically. Once kind of it went into building permits, it was realized that the front yard setback that they were requesting did not equal the 103. And it was actually closer to what is permitted, the 50 at 80, specifically 83.2 meters. So because the motion didn't have that approximately there, it was a very specific minor variance that the committee had approved. Therefore, if he wants to move his dwelling, he has to come back for another variance, and that's exactly what this is. In the previous report, it was heavily talked about how Conservation Authority was kind of this deciding factor because it is within their area. And it is permitted through the plan, the official plan designation of agricultural. They are permitted to have a single detached dwelling. The Conservation Authority did provide comments on this updated request, and they have also already provided him written permission from them for this new location. So therefore, staff is recommending approval, same conditions outlined in the previous staff report. And if there's any other questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Okay, I don't see Mr. Weber online. So we don't really have anyone here representing this application. So I guess the questions from our committee will be then forwarded to our planner. I'll start with Councillor Vaizey.
No issues, so thank you.
Deputy Mayor McEwen.
No questions.
Les? And online over there, Jennifer, any questions?
I don't have any, thank you.
Okay. Well, that's pretty quick. We didn't have any correspondence, Mackenzie?
We've received no correspondence for the application.
Okay, thank you. All right, I have a motion here by Les Goldhawk, seconded by Mike Vaizey. That the report by Randy Burke dated August 30th, 2024 be received and the minor variance application A-22-24 be approved with the following conditions. One, SCRCA, Conservation Authority, sorry, a permit required at owner's sole expense prior to any development taking place. Number two, certified lot grading plan be submitted to the town of Plympton-Wyoming, approved by the town prior to permit issuance. Number three, a final grading plan certificate submitted to the town of Plympton-Wyoming upon final completion and subject to town final approval. Number four, building permit required. Applicant to apply for a building permit and comply with all requirements as prescribed by the Ontario Building Code and to the satisfaction of the County of Lambton Building Services Department. Number five, any access driveway be completed to the standard of the Town of Plympton, Wyoming Streets bylaw. I will call the question. All those in favor? That motion is carried. Mackenzie, you will let this applicant know of their 20-day appeal period before they can do any work. And at this moment, we're ahead of schedule, so we'll take a 5-minute break. All right, we'll continue our Committee of Adjustments meeting. Have minor variance application number A-2124. Take notice that an application was made by 1684677 Ontario Limited with respect to the property known as Plan 25M-93 Lot 120, Town of Plympton-Wyoming, 3532 Britt Boulevard. The subject property is zoned residential 5 R5 as per the Town of Plympton-Wyoming zoning bylaw. The following variances from zoning bylaw of 97 of 2003 have been requested. 1, relief from section that 3.16 square feet, I think, prohibiting driveway in areas defined as site triangles. That's what I have on my, I think I'm reading that correctly. And that was the only variance requested. So at this time, I'll refer to our planner, Randy Burke.
Thank you, your chair. Yeah, so the applicant is searching for requesting relief from section, so it's 3.16.4 F of the zoning bylaw specifically. For this application, they are, like I mentioned, they're proposing to just build a single detached dwelling on this lot. It is located within the urban settlement area in the county OP, which permits for dwellings to be constructed, as well as located in the service hamlet area in the town of Plympton-Wyoming official plan, which again allows for the single detached development and is zoned R5. The main issue here was that their driveway was located in the site triangle. However, after going through the 4 tests, it is in compliance with the official plan, the zoning bylaw. The driveway is pushed over as much as it can kind of possibly go over on the lot, and the house is located in the most appropriate location on the lot, especially after going out to do a site visit. So therefore, planning staff didn't see any issues. Public Works commented and didn't see that there was any, really negative visual impacts that would come from having the driveway in this location, since it is as pushed as far back as possible. So therefore, planning is recommending approval with just the one condition that it be constructed in that exact location.
Okay, and I don't believe that we have the applicant here or online. So, and did we receive any correspondence, Mackenzie?
We've not received any correspondence in the application.
So I'll open the floor to the committee. I'll start with you once again, Jennifer, since you're online and might be leaving at 6. So any questions?
Thank you. No, I do not have any questions with this application.
Councillor Vasey?
My brand new build and it doesn't fit on the lot. Why don't they move the house back a little bit? Understand, there's again, a brand new lot and they're trying to fit it on a lot that doesn't fit. So it's up to us to adjust our.
So through you, the chair, so the house is in compliance. The house is fine. It's just like the corner.
They moved the house back 3 feet,
Way.
then. We're still gonna have that. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Why do we have the triangles in place if we don't adhere to it?
So the sightline triangles are there to avoid putting permanent structures or obstructions there, which can cause challenges when seeing around corners. That is one consistent comment we've had from builders and third-party planners, that our sightline triangles are quite conservative. And that is an item we are going to review in regards to the zoning bylaw amendment coming later this year. The sightline triangle you see, whereas it's 10 meters by 15 meters, that's typically something you see approaching an 80-kilometer-an-hour road, not an internal subdivision. So it's definitely something that's on the agenda to be reviewed as part of the ZBA, as the community does see these kind of requests on a somewhat regular basis due to the restricted nature of the current policy.
Any other questions, Councillor Vito? Thank you. Deputy Mayor McEwen.
No, I don't have any questions. It's just that we've come up against this in several other subdivisions and yeah, it should be straightened out in the zoning bylaw, actually. So, but you know, to say that it's only for 80 mph, sometimes somebody does go 80 mph in one of these stuff.
That is a fair observation, Deputy Mayor.
That's all.
Les?
Doing the site visit, I didn't see that there would be an issue with it. I just had a question with the drawing that's on page 78 of the package. So it shows that there would be a the driveway would be cut off to meet that.
Let's go to page 78 specifically. I know that they did provide another drawing that was cut here that that was the original one that came in with their application, but I told them that they would have to provide exactly the measurement, which is what is in the report. So I believe that's probably the drawing that you're speaking of, but the one that's in my report is the exact, they provided the exact width of what they're asking for.
I just seen the difference in the two.
Yeah, so I guess that drawing must have just gotten in because it was with the original drawing package that they provided. But then I asked for an updated drawing, giving us the entire measurement is probably what had happened there.
The original drawing looks like it actually removes the driveway from that area to meet the triangle.
Yeah, that they had submitted that, just showing where it would be cut, from my understanding, and then they submit it with the full measurement. I'll just look here. Yeah, so this was what they have provided to me to say like, this is what the cut that they would have to do. That's exactly where they would have to cut it. But they were proposing to go into the site triangle. So it just ended up being that this drawing was provided with the attachments that they gave, but then I had said, no, you'll need to provide the exact measurement of what you're proposing, not this. This is the one where the application's based off of.
Be clear, the drawing included in the agenda package is the drawing to be referenced as that's what they're applying for in the variance.
Yes.
Both of them are in the back.
So
The online version only has the one drawing.
The one that's attached to the planning report is what they are asking for.
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree with that.
Yes.
I just wanted to know
Yeah.
whether or not that was actually for an application for a building permit, the original one.
Yeah, they probably provided the whole package, right? And then when they came, when it came back, I told them, because on that one, they don't have the full measurement of the driveway. Whereas this one has.
Meet the site triangle then though, because that driveway would not
Mhm.
go that far. So
Well, this was what they were requesting, so I asked them to provide a thing of what they were requesting.
they complied right from the beginning, but
So yeah, that's where the confusion is. The notice, my apologies, the notice shows them going around the sightline triangle. But your staff report shows the variance they're applying.
Any other questions, Les? No. Okay. The only comment I have is I'm happy that the site thing is gonna be going to the bylaws agenda. So I have a motion here by Les Goldhawk, seconded by Mike Basie, that the report by Randy Burke, planner, dated September the 3rd, 2024 be received, and that minor variance application A-21-24 be approved with the following conditions. 1, that the driveway be located in the exact location as per attachment 1 of this report. I'll call the question. All those in favor? That motion is carried. And once again, Mackenzie, you'll let the applicant know of the 20-day appeal period. Thank you. Bless you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to our business arising. I'll refer to our planners. I know that we had the comprehensive zoning bylaw amendment that is on our standing agenda items. Anything for that? And I know we also have the bill 185 that we were going to talk about. I certainly appreciate your condensed version of the explanation of the bill. Appreciated it, read it. So I'm not sure if there's any questions from our committee or how you want to deal with this, Maria. Do you want to just, if there's any questions, or do you want, I think all of us had the opportunity to read the condensed version, and for those that were really keen, could read the whole bill. But I can open the floor to our committee members to wonder if they have any questions, and I'll start once again, Jennifer, with you. If you have any questions.
No, I'm good with it.
Figured you would know it as well. You probably the whole bill, so
Yes.
I will move to then committee member Les.
No, I don't, this is what we went over the last meeting as well.
Yes.
I wasn't here at the last meeting, so I assume that this was on the business arising again. Anything for you, Deputy Mayor?
No, I just like the Reader's Digest version.
Want to see?
Yeah, it's nicely put, so it's understandable. So thank you very much, Maria. Hey, bye, Jen.
Bye, Nettie. Bye, gang.
Thank you, Jennifer. No questions, Councilor Vasey. Okay, and then once again, on our standing items, we do have the comprehensive zoning bylaw amendment. Again, it was always open for any recommendations from our committee to be heard and to be pushed forward for that, so.
And I do understand that the consultant will be starting a public consultation, including with members of committees and council in the fall, so we should be getting information on that shortly.
Good. Any new business? I'll start with you, Mackenzie.
On our end.
Okay, planners?
I have one item. There will be a new PPS coming into effect as of October the 20th. It has been for a long time referred to as the provincial policy statement, is now going to be referred to as the provincial planning statement. One of the changes. So there is a report that is being prepared for council at the end of the month. And once that report is ready, we will also add it to the agenda for committee in October.
Great.
There's quite a few changes.
Will we get condensed versions of those
It
as
will be
well?
condensed, yes.
We appreciate those. Thank you.
There may be some impacts to committee, but I'm still finalizing the report, so we can go into more depth in October.
It'll be to our benefit.
Sure.
Yeah, it always is, huh?
All right, anything else?
No.
Councilor Vasey,
I have nothing. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor McEwen.
Nothing, thanks.
Yes. Adam?
No, sir.
And I have nothing, just to thank our planners and our administration for once again doing a great job for being prepared for our meeting tonight. And other than our technical difficulties at the first, which is certainly not any sort of error by humans, appreciate all the work that you guys have done and continue to do. Once again, our committee of adjustments has had more applications this year than we have had in many previous years. So keep up the good work. And also would like to wish one of our planners a very happy wedding that is coming up, and enjoy your time and congratulations. At this time, I have a motion by Les Goldhawk, seconded by Mike Vacy, that the Committee of Adjustments meeting be adjourned and the next meeting be scheduled for October the 8th, 2024 at 5:15 PM. Mackenzie, do we have applications already for that?
Yes, we have 2 applications on the agenda for that one.
Okay. We'll call the question. All those in favor? That motion is carried.